We're here to protest Channel 7's sensationalist coverage of African gang violence and crime. Yeah, we feel that they really sensationalize the amount of acts of violence that are being perpetrated by African Australian individuals, and they make it out to be something that's being perpetrated by the whole community when really people of all races commit crime, and they're just highlighting, overemphasizing and magnifying certain incidences that have been perpetrated by individuals that happen to be of African descent.
Well, actually, a lot of people commit crimes.
Yeah,
it's not just African. Like, if a white person was to commit a crime, it would just be like someone committed a crime, where an African committed a crime would be like a black person.
It's the African. It's the problem with their race that's constantly being magnified and highlighted.
They label the race in the title, like a black person committed a crime, where like a white person wouldn't be in the title.
And then bringing it back to the gang crisis, when there is no gang crisis. Statistically, it does not exist. And, you know, one thing that the coverage constantly neglects to speak about is the context in which a lot of African Australians, you know, they like generally they come from refugee backgrounds where there's a lot of trauma involved, and they're already marginalised and suffering from, you know, high unemployment. It's a lot of context that's being lost, and they're always just bringing it back to their race. And a lot of this has a racial element to it, which is what we don't want. People are criminals, and they're African Australian criminals like there are white criminals and all other races. It's just the racial element that's constantly being magnified, and we're being othered and marginalised, and this is a negative stereotype that we're not happy with having.
The Prime Minister is just making cheap shots that the Sudanese aren't suitable here, and Mr. Dutton is the worst, I think, because he was making claims about numbers of offenders which they're not the reality. Mr. Dutton made a claim that people were afraid to eat in restaurants, which is patently rubbish. The restaurants are still stuffed full with patrons, and everyone's enjoying that. Channel 7 beating up the stories just so they can have more viewers on their programs at night.
But I am the cousin of Liam Gonyi, who was like my brother, my best friend, and he was killed due to a racial attack by two random white men that he has never seen in his life before. And the last word that they said to my brother was, "Let's take our anger out on some niggas." They said, "Kill the blacks." That's what they said. And then they went and they attacked my cousin. Now I'm coming here because we've never spoken about it, and the pain, it hurts so much. My whole family is traumatized by what the media has done to our family, to our friends and the people around us. I am so scared because they criminalized my cousin while he was dead. He had no way to come and talk for himself. I hope that, you know, we could all be one without discrimination, one without stereotype, one without prejudiced views, because it does tear people apart, especially murder. He did not ask for his life to be taken away, but because he fit the description, they decided they want to kill my cousin. Because he fit the description, they claim that I am a member of the Apex. Because I fit the description, they think that I'm violent. Because I fit the description, they think that I'm a thug. Because I fit the description, they think I'm a dog. Because I fit the description, they tell me to put them in her family. Because I fit the description, I am a threat to society. All of us live in fear every day. I'm terrorized. The minute that I came to Australia, I lived in fear my whole life. Please let us show you who we are. Let us show you what we do. Let us show you our character. Let us show you that we're more than the media portrays us to be.
If the Prime Minister of the country can go in front of the whole nation and say that this color, this nation is doing the country bad, all I'm going to tell you is I've got my cousins playing in the NBA that will claim to be Australian when they did it. So don't you ever say that I'm not here and claim me when I'm doing good. Yeah, I don't want that. Second, you're playing with my future. You're playing with the future of my little cousins who are not gonna see this stuff the way we see it. If you're talking about crime and you're gonna attach our name to it, you can go to any station in Melbourne, go around the corner, and see any nationality is able to commit crime. Why are you pointing fingers at us? Why is that? Why are you pointing fingers at us? Why is that? That's my question. And if you can't answer that, then you got a problem, yeah? This goes out to the media, to the people, to the wider community of Australian, whether you're white, black, or whatever color, green, aliens, whatever, I don't really care. You have to understand that we are not the victims. We are not the ones ruining this country.
You stop separating. Stop the separation that's happening. We are all Australians. Because if you're lazy and you just cover whatever and you just release whatever and you don't fact check, you don't know how much people were involved, and you spread misinformation, you are doing damage to the young people in my community. That's what I'm saying. Just be responsible.
Just we're asking Chess 7 and other media corporations to just be impartial about reporting news, get to the fact, and just don't stir up anything. That's all we're asking for, and that's the majority of people that showed up today are asking the same thing. Really, that's about it.
To be bullied by Channel 7.
Wait, is he?
No, that was good. Yeah, but she's like